this bowl. So what I've done is I've wood turned this piece of spalted sycamore, and what I'm doing is I'm just blacking out a lot of this section here. So I thought I'd go live and say hi to everybody while I'm doing it. I'm using a spear shader for this. It's my favourite tip. I really like it. So I'm just going to use the pencil. Don't want to burn my fingers. I'm just going to use the edge of the tip here, and I'm going to twist it ever so slightly, and I'm just gently brushing over that surface. Very, very gentle. Now that's on quite a high heat. And this is on a 40, so I'm using the razor tip. And this is on a 40 on the digital dial. Now I want this pretty black, but I'm just trying to be careful that I don't get that yellow overburn. Because it doesn't look very nice. I don't think it looks very nice anyway. So this is a piece that I've wood turned for a local competition, and the theme was, well, is music. So I have gone with Slash from Guns N' Roses, which I don't mind Guns N' Roses. They're quite alright. I just thought it was something different to burn on something that wasn't, well, I suppose it is flat, but it's not 100% flat, as in the turned bits, but yeah, it works well. And just gently filling all this in, just doing it very slow, be patient. I'm going to turn this, so I've got this strop here, and it's got a dip, which my bottom of my bowl is actually sitting in quite nicely, so I can actually turn it, which is pretty good. So I'm going to turn that around. I'm just going to come down the side of those lines there. I'm not actually quite sure what the lines are called. I can't remember offhand. I'm not musically trained or anything like that, so if you do know what they're called, let me know. Bring up the side of that note there, and across there, just being very, very gentle. And up the side of this side, just using that very, very tip. Across there. And that edge. There we go. And then coming across the top. Or it's actually the bottom, actually, the note's upside down. I'm quite sure what the note's called. Bring that down. Just there and around. Still being very gentle, even though the burn is going down quite dark, you still want to be very gentle. So I'm thinking, feather soft touch. And around. Bring that down there. I'm just going to come down the side of this bit here, and then around that circular bit. And what I can do is just fill this bit in now, and around that. And at the moment I'm using this edge here just to pull down. I'm actually pulling with that grain, which actually feels nice. Sometimes when you go over the cross, like across the grain, it feels a bit bumpy, even though you've sanded it. It always depends on what type of wood that you're using as to how it burns. Spin that one around. So what I'm going to do now is use this edge to push up. So if I'm pushing away, I generally use this edge. If I'm pulling down, I use the opposite edge. So just going to twist towards me and push up. And then as come to this point, I'm going to come around with this other edge. And I'm going to twist away to be able to pull down. Just being really, really gentle with that. I don't want to dig into the wood, and when your nibs are really hot, it's really easy to dig into the wood. So just be mindful if you're burning that your pens are hot; they're going to dig in. So you've got to be really, really gentle. Putting that down. So quite dark around that musical note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend it a little bit. And I'm going to add some more layers to make it a little bit darker. Okay. Right, so I'm going to turn that around. So what I'm going to do is use this edge and I'm going to twist it that way. I'm just going to pull across there, using a little bit more of the tip as I'm going round that musical note. I'm just filling that in because I want all this area here black where it comes to these lines. And then this bit here is going to stay the natural wood colour. Using a little bit more of the tip to go around. Just there. And there. Gently, gently, really gently. I'm just going to pull that down. So twisting the pen that way, away from me, pull it down. Go. And on here as well. So I want a note that's coming through that. So I'm going to use the tip just to go around. Very, very gently. And then make sure that I go on either side, so I want to go on either side of that. Those lines there. I'm going to leave that. I'm not quite sure about that bit there. I might change that for something else. So I'm just going to leave that for the moment. Bring that around there. Now, what I've done up on this part here, you can see I've left a white line between the spalting and this side. So what I'm trying to do is do the same on that side there. So I'm going to send you dizzy by turning this all the way around. I'm just going to go around that spalting bit there and then sneak up to the edge of that line. Just bringing that all the way around so it curves round. There we go. And I'm going to come from this side because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with that bit yet. I think I might redraw that, get the pencil out and redraw it into something else. I'm not quite sure what. Just sneaking up on that line and filling in that dark bit there. Quite enjoyed making this. It's been definitely a different thing to do. It's been a change. Bringing that around there. This is definitely much darker than I usually work in one pass. Normally I like to build up lots and lots of layers because I'm doing like portraits of people or animals. And so you have to build them up really, really slowly, whereas this has been very, very different to do because I'm just going dark pretty much straight away with this. I mean, this is going to need another layer or so, but it's still pretty dark in one layer than what I normally do. Been a bit of a learning curve, I must admit. My brain just automatically wants to build up like 20 odd layers rather than just, putting it down as one thing. Push that in there. So I'm going to come to about here. Like I say, 'cause I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that bit. Pull in that. Push it now. All about pushing, the pull of this. There we go. So that's that bit filled in pretty well. Quite like that. So I'm going to come up this side, I think, here. Burning quite dark on that part. Like really, really dark. I might have to turn that down a little bit. Blended it. Cool it down a little bit. That's a bit better. This bit here is obviously a softer bit of wood just on this side here, and that's why it's burning really dark. The softer wood tends to burn pretty quickly, and because this is spalted, it will have soft bits in it more than something that isn't spalted. So just got to be mindful and adjust temperature as needed. And you see it's not burning quite as much here. If we go a little bit slower, it'll burn pretty well. I always find that Sycamore needs a higher heat than something like lime. I normally like to use lime for pyrography, and it's really smooth and it's really nice to use. But I always find that Sycamore needs just a little bit more of the heat to get the layers on. Only a little bit, mind. This razor tip is a digital dial, and I probably have to go up maybe 2 or 3 notches, and they're singles in comparison to the lime, which I can burn at a really low temperature. Going on that rim. What's that? So here it's not burning quite so much. So if I bring it up here, you can see that it burns a lot darker. And it's obviously because this bit's a little bit softer than the bit down there. So I'm just going to pull that down there. It's gone really dark now. I've just turned it up 1 notch and it has just gone black. Well, that's not a problem. And so I want it really dark anyway, so I'm going to have to give it another layer. So it's easy enough to blend that bit in. So I'm just going to pull it across there. And just fill this bit in. So I'm moving pretty slowly. The slower you burn, the slower you go, the darker you burn. The faster you go, the lighter it will burn. There we go. Just going to fill this last little bit in. So I think it's definitely going to have another layer on there. Well, I'm not going to do that right now. spread that up a bit. There we go. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to go and get a cup of tea, and I shall see you soon.